It's one of those Bayview Entertainment Burn on Demand gimmicks here. It's Return of the Theater of Terror. Return of the Theater of Terror, if you couldn't catch that. So, apparently there was an original Theater of Terror that I've not seen. It is on Tubi, apparently. But this is its sequel. There's anthology film, so I don't think you really have to worry about watching the first one. You open up with a couple of kids trying to shoot their own little movie. They end up sneaking to a theater. Well, one of them runs across this guy that runs the theater, and he has him sit down and watch 4 segments on the screen that we get to watch. The wraparound is pretty predictable, nothing too fancy, but the segments is where you kind of find a few issues here and there. Now, as a man who made an anthology film himself, I want to say that if you got a low budget like this, you need to just go in. You need to go hard at it. You need to throw all your stuff you can at the screen. Need to try to be as ridiculous as you possibly can be, and just see what works and what don't. This one is shot very well. It sounds very well. It looks good. It looks indie, but it looks good. But it doesn't seem to really try to push any barriers and whatnot. So the gore and stuff is not really there. The campy factor is not really there. It's just kind of a solid, somewhat dull piece at times. Here is the segment. So the first one we see is uh, the haunted segment. I'm pretty sure it's the haunted segment. It's the first segment. I don't I don't know. But nonetheless, here's your segments. The was that the Soothsayer? Is that what it says? Either way, this guy, the scientist, develops this thing that lets you see like 8 minutes into the future, and he uses it, to fall in love, or basically, get his assistant because they're in love with each other, and they figure that out, I guess, with the jump in time there. But it also causes some problems later on. There's kind of a twist there, so it's kind of like a very low level Twilight Zone vibe, even with the invisibleness, or the excuse me, not the visibleness, but the black and whiteness of it. But it's okay. It is what it is. The Splinter one's a guy, moving around his mom's old house, and he gets a splinter, and some bad stuff happens after that. And like I said, all these kind of feel like they're trying to be more like the Twilight Zone rather than like, I don't know, Tales of the Dark Side. If that makes sense to you. The haunted one, I don't remember a lot about that one, so that should tell you what you need to know about the haunted one. The robot one, probably the best segment. That's like the last thing where you got a kid and he's got like an abusive stepdad, and the mom's kind of letting him do it. It's the time old tale you've seen a million times over. But he comes across this robot, and some interesting stuff takes place there. That is by far the best segment. By far, probably the best segment. You're going to all agree with this whole thing. So you get like one really good one, 2 okay ones, and one that's really not even worth remembering. But Return of the Theater of Terror is very safe. It's not very gory. It's not very campy. It's just kind of straightforward, and it's solid, but it's not solid enough. I'm going to give it a 2.5. Um, Maybe I should check out the original. I don't know if it's more like this. I might be able to go the rest of my life without actually seeing it and be just fine. But this is available now. It's on Amazon. It's burn on demand, so it's BDR. So be sure you're okay with that. But it looks cool. Well, its cover does, but it could have been better.